There's no pairing I love more than barrel-aged beers with cigars. Let's take a look at 3 beers from my collection and the cigars I love to pair with them. Avery Brewing in Boulder, Colorado is the brewery that grew my sense of what was possible when aging beer in barrels. They were absolutely the pioneers in barrel aging and domestic sour beer production. I was lucky enough to be a part of the industry when they were first creating these beers, and I got to taste one of their first ever bourbon barrel-aged quadruple ales. And this beer, Old Fashioned Friends, harkens back to those early bourbon barrel-aged quadruples that I first tried. Aged in bullet bourbon barrels, this beer was made for the old-fashioned drinker. Candy sugar and tangerine peels are added to the brew process before laid to age in the bullet barrels. It comes in at a whopping 13.2%, so it's hot, but I love that in a beer. And the presence of bourbon and oak is absolutely evident right up front, and the citrus notes and caramel sweetness cut through the alcohol and make for a really nice butterscotch finish. It's a new beer, just released, so grab a few now and enjoy them fresh and bright, and buy a few more to lay down to keep enjoying over the years. If you're enjoying a beer that knocks you off your end, then why not have a cigar that will do the same thing? The David is Foundation's smaller version of 2 Perfectos in their Tabernacle, Connecticut broadleaf line. The other, aptly named Goliath, is the slightly larger of the 2, but don't be fooled by David's smaller stature. Both cigars are made with Mexican San Andres binder, Nicaraguan and Honduran filler, and of course, Foundation's signature Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. It packs a punch of pepper up front, and like the other broadleaf selections, there's a nutty woodiness to the initial draw with some baking spice and cedar on the finish. The nutty characteristics and full body allow for a fantastic pairing with Old Fashioned Friends. Seattle's Fremont Brewing makes some very cool beers, but they all pale in comparison to the B-Bomb, their bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Winter Ale. This is a vintage release, and I have a number of the 2021 vintage in my cellar. It's a big beer aged in a variety of 9, 12, and 24-month-old bourbon barrels. It's rich, dark, and sweet, full-bodied and bright, and I get a ton of candied fig, raisin, and dark chocolate on the palate. But it still has a tremendous acidic character that makes it a great pairing for your cigar of choice. Also, I love the wax dip, which helps take the edge off of that $25 price tag, but don't worry, it's worth it. My cigar of choice with the B-Bomb is the Davidoff Winston Churchill The Late Hour. The Davidoff Winston Churchill line of cigars pays tribute to the man and the legend, and the Late Hour is a very special, single malt Scotch barrel-aged cigar that's as powerful as the man himself. Davidoff, of course, is a very famous, very premium, formerly Cuban cigar maker from Geneva, Switzerland. I've had a number of Winston Churchill cigars, and the Late Hour stands out thanks to its intense flavor and use of flavorful, rich tobacco. The Nicaraguan filler is aged in single malt Scotch barrels, but I think it's also the extra dark Oscuro wrapper that lends the real punch to the cigar. What's cool about the Oscuro wrapper, Oscuro meaning dark in Spanish, is that these are the tobacco leaves that grow at the top of the plant. Now these have been given the most sunlight, thereby maturing faster. And when aged, because of their intense growth, they become rich and dark by the time aging and fermentation is done. The Late Hour smokes with an intense level of honey and leather, likely from the Scotch barrels, and finishes with bitter, dark chocolate and mossy forest flavors. I love this cigar, and the Churchill size of the Winston Churchill Late Hour takes me about 2 hours to finish, so make sure you have a few beers lined up. River North is a brewery in Denver, Colorado, and I stumbled upon their Quandary Ale at a mountain pub that just happened to have 2 pours of this beer left on tap. I was immediately impressed and in beer love. They used to reside in the former Flying Dog Brewery, a once popular Denver staple, but River North now has a fantastic new tap room in the Rhino Arts District. I think this is one of the best examples of a quadruple ale outside of Belgium, even though it's barrel aged. The 2022 version was aged in Colorado whiskey barrels, and the 2023 XO is aged for 25 months in Colorado bourbon barrels. It reminds me of bread pudding with vanilla ice cream and leans heavily into the bright, fruity aromatics while sending me right back to Belgium. I love this beer, and it's very limited, so grab one when you can. I think there's something we can all get used to me saying, and that's me saying that I love a cigar. And this one is no different. I have really been enjoying the smaller demi-Corona size of the Montecristo 1935 anniversary. And it's almost the perfect size cigar for me in terms of mouthfeel and how it sits in the hand. Plus, it's about a 45-minute smoke, so it's something to enjoy when you don't have a lot of time, or maybe when you're outside cooking on the grill. The 1935 was developed by A.J. Hernandez for the 85th anniversary of the Montecristo brand, using tobacco from his farms, and it's really a fantastic cigar. Milder than the previous ones we've talked about, it has an incredible draw and tons of cedar, Irish whiskey, and smoked almond flavors throughout. It pairs beautifully with the Quandary due to the lighter body and intense aromatics of the Belgian-style quadruple. Have it before or after dinner. You won't regret it. Just like the world of cigars, the world of beer is incredibly diverse and full of exciting options to try and pair with your favorite brands. I'd love to know which beer and cigar pairing is your current favorite. I'm always looking for a reason to add to my humidor and to my cellar.